The crystal chandeliers cast dancing shadows across the marble floors of the Westbourne Estate's grand ballroom, each glimmer worth more than I'd earned in months of crawling under sinks and fixing broken pipes. I stood near the towering windows, adjusting the collar of my discount department store suit, the best I could afford without touching the money I'd been saving for Jason's future. 23 years of sacrifice had led to this moment, my son's wedding day. The memory of holding him as a newborn still burned fresh in my mind. Sarah had packed her bags when he was barely 6 months old, leaving behind only a note that read, "I can't do this anymore." No explanation, no goodbye kiss for the baby sleeping in his crib. Just the echo of the front door slamming shut, and the weight of responsibility settling on my shoulders like a lead blanket. From that day forward it had been Jason and me against the world. I worked double shifts, plumbing repairs during the day, stocking shelves at the grocery store until midnight. There were winters when I chose between heating the apartment and buying him new school clothes. Christmas mornings when his presents came from garage sales and thrift stores, wrapped in newspaper because I couldn't afford proper gift wrap. But I never missed a parent-teacher conference, never failed to attend his science fairs, never let him see the bills piling up on the kitchen counter. Now, watching him stand beside Emily Westbourne in his perfectly tailored tuxedo, I felt a surge of pride that threatened to overwhelm me. He'd graduated summa cum laude from engineering school, landed a position at a prestigious tech firm, and somehow captured the heart of this beautiful, accomplished woman from one of the city's most prominent families. The boy I'd raised on mac and cheese and determination had become a man worthy of this fairy tale setting. I made my way toward the head table, where elegant place cards marked each guest's position. The calligraphy was flawless, gold embossed on cream cardstock that probably cost more than my monthly electric bill. I found my designated seat and lifted the nameplate, expecting to see Robert Carter, father of the groom. Instead, in mockingly perfect script, someone had added, "Low-educated fake dad." The words hit me like a physical blow. I blinked, certain I was misreading, but the cruel addition remained there in gleaming gold ink. My hands trembled as I set the card back down, looking around to see if anyone had witnessed my humiliation. That's when I heard it, the snickering from the bride's family table. "Well, what did you expect?" Emily's mother, Patricia Westbourne, whispered loudly enough for half the room to hear. "He fixes toilets for a living. Probably didn't even finish high school." Gregory Westbourne, the retired university dean who'd given the blessing earlier, adjusted his wire-rimmed glasses and smirked. Amazing what some people consider raising a child. Thank goodness Jason found our Emily to show him what real class looks like. Emily's cousin Sarah leaned over, her voice dripping with false sympathy. "It's almost sad, really. He thinks he belongs here." The laughter spread like wildfire among the Westbourne relatives. Each chuckle, each whispered comment, each pitying glance felt like sandpaper against my skin. I gripped the back of my chair, fighting the urge to flee. This was supposed to be the proudest day of my life, the culmination of decades of sacrifice and love. Instead, I felt smaller than I had since Sarah walked out all those years ago. I quietly flipped the nameplate face down and attempted to take my seat, but the damage was done. The poison had already spread through the room. I caught fragments of their continued commentary: blue-collar breeding, trailer park mentality, charity case playing dress-up. My chest tightened with each word. These people, with their inherited wealth and purchased respectability, were reducing 23 years of devotion to a punchline. They saw the calloused hands that had worked themselves raw to pay for Jason's education as something shameful. The sacrifices that had shaped my son into the man he'd become were nothing more than entertainment for their amusement. I stood abruptly, chair scraping against the polished floor. I couldn't stay. I wouldn't subject myself or Jason to any more of this humiliation. Better to leave quietly than to cause a scene that would overshadow his special day. But as I turned toward the exit, a firm hand closed around my wrist. "Dad." Jason stood beside me, his face a mask of controlled fury. His dark eyes, so much like mine, burned with an intensity I'd never seen before. The photographer was still snapping pictures nearby, but Jason ignored the flashing lights entirely. "Jason, I should go," I whispered. "I don't want to ruin your wedding." "Dad," he repeated, his voice carrying across the suddenly quiet ballroom. Let's go home. The music stopped mid-note. Conversations died. Even the catering staff froze with champagne flutes halfway to their lips. The entire room held its breath as Jason looked directly at the Westbourne family table. You all just made the biggest mistake of your lives, he said, his words cutting through the silence like a blade. Emily stepped forward, her wedding dress rustling against the marble floor. Jason, what are you doing? It's just a joke. A joke. Jason's voice remained deadly calm. Humiliating the man who raised me as a joke? Gregory Westbourne stood, his face flushed with indignation. Now see here, young man. We've welcomed you into our family. No, Jason interrupted, his grip tightening on my arm. You've tolerated me because you thought I was a useful accessory. But this man, he gestured toward me, this man is the reason I am who I am. And you just declared war on him. Without another word, Jason guided me through the stunned crowd and out into the cool night air. Behind us, the ballroom erupted in confused chatter, but we didn't look back. We walked to his car in silence, leaving behind the fairy tale wedding that had turned into a nightmare. The drive to my apartment was quiet except for the soft hum of the engine and the distant sounds of the city settling into evening. Jason's knuckles were white against the steering wheel, his jaw clenched so tight I worried he might crack a tooth. I wanted to tell him he shouldn't have walked out, that his marriage was more important than my wounded pride, but something in his expression warned me to wait. We climbed the 3 flights of stairs to my modest apartment, the same one where I'd raised him, where we'd built model airplanes at the kitchen table and I'd helped him with calculus homework by lamplight. It wasn't much, but it had been home. Jason finally spoke as I fumbled with my keys. I saw it, Dad. I paused, key halfway in the lock. Saw what? The nameplate. I saw them writing it. I was watching from across the room when Emily's cousin took out that gold pen and added that garbage. His voice cracked slightly. I watched them laugh while they did it. The key turned, but I didn't push the door open. Then why didn't you stop them? Jason leaned against the hallway wall, suddenly looking much older than his 25 years. Because I needed to know. I needed to see if they'd really do it, if they'd actually humiliate you on the most important day of my life. He ran a hand through his hair, messing up the perfect styling. And they did. They proved exactly who they are. Inside the apartment, Jason pulled out his phone and showed me a video he'd been secretly recording. I watched in horrified fascination as Gregory Westbourne handed the gold pen to Emily's cousin, both of them chuckling as she defaced my nameplate. Patricia Westbourne's voice was clear on the recording. Well, someone had to acknowledge the obvious. He's not really family anyway. But the worst moment came when the camera captured Emily herself, nodding along with their cruelty and adding, "My real father figure is the man I'm marrying into wealth with. That Plumber? He's just there." My heart sank, but Jason's expression remained ice cold. Dad, there's something I never told you. Something I've been building while living in that tiny studio apartment, while driving my old Honda, while letting them think I was just another middle-class guy they could manipulate. He opened his laptop and pulled up financial documents that made my head spin. 3 years ago, I started a cybersecurity company with my college roommate. We developed encryption software that caught the attention of some major players. Last year we were acquired by a Fortune 500 company. I stared at the numbers on the screen, hardly believing what I was seeing. Jason, this says $47 million. After taxes and splitting with my partner, I walked away with enough money to buy and sell the Westbourne family's entire hotel chain if I wanted to. He turned the laptop toward me so I could see more documents. Which, as it turns out, I've been quietly doing for the past 8 months. The revelation hit me like a freight train. You've been buying their company? 48% so far, purchased through shell companies and silent partnerships. They have no idea who's been acquiring their debt and purchasing their struggling properties. Jason's smile was sharp as a razor. Tomorrow morning, I'm buying the remaining 3% I need to control Westbourne Hospitality Group. I sank into my old recliner, the same one where I'd held him during countless childhood illnesses and helped him practice for school presentations. Jason, you can't destroy a family business just because. Because they destroyed something far more valuable, he interrupted. They attacked your dignity. They mocked the man who worked himself to the bone so I could have a future. They turned your love into a punchline. His eyes blazed with righteous anger. Tomorrow they learn what happens when you humiliate Robert Carter. The next morning, Jason appeared in my kitchen wearing a navy suit that probably cost more than my monthly rent. He moved with a confidence I'd never seen before, no longer the boy I'd raised but a man with the power to reshape lives with a single decision. Today's the day, Dad, he said, pouring coffee into 2 mugs. Today they discover who they really tried to destroy. We drove to the gleaming glass tower that housed Westbourne Hospitality's corporate headquarters. The lobby was all marble and gold, designed to intimidate and impress. Staff members who had ignored us at the wedding now watched with curious eyes as we strode toward the executive elevator. The boardroom was packed with Westbourne family members and company executives. Gregory sat at the head of the polished conference table, still wearing the same smug expression he'd sported while watching his family humiliate me. Emily sat beside her mother, both women looking confused about why they'd been summoned to an emergency board meeting. "What's the meaning of this interruption?" Gregory demanded as Jason and I entered. "We have serious business to conduct." Jason calmly placed a thick manila folder on the table and addressed the room. "Effective immediately, I control 51% of Westbourne Hospitality Group. The documentation is all there, verified by 3 independent law firms. You can call your attorneys if you'd like confirmation." The silence was deafening. Gregory's face went pale as he reached for the papers with shaking hands. His eyes widened as the reality of the situation dawned on him. You little parasite," he sputtered. "This is impossible. You're nobody. I'm the son of the man you mocked," Jason said quietly. "The product of the low-educated fake dad who taught me honor, perseverance, and the value of hard work. The boy who learned integrity from a plumber who sacrificed everything for his child's future." Patricia Westbourne found her voice. "This is insane. You can't just—" "I can and I have." Jason turned to address the entire board. "Let me be very clear about what happens next. Gregory, Patricia, Emily, and every member of the Westbourne family who participated in yesterday's humiliation are terminated immediately. You'll receive your severance packages, but your time with this company is over." Emily shot to her feet, tears streaming down her face. "Jason, please. I made a mistake. I was under pressure from my family. You have to understand." "I understand perfectly," Jason replied, his voice never rising above a conversational tone. "You understand that the man you called a fake dad worked 14-hour days so I could afford college. You understand that while you were handed everything on a silver platter, he was choosing between heat and groceries to make sure I had what I needed. And when given the choice between defending him and joining in his humiliation, you chose cruelty." Gregory lurched forward, his face purple with rage. "This is my company. My family built this from nothing." "Your family inherited it from nothing," Jason corrected. "And now it belongs to the people who understand the value of actual work. Through me, it belongs to the man you spit on." We walked out together, leaving the Westbourne family stunned and powerless in the ruins of their former empire. In the elevator, I finally found my voice. "You didn't have to destroy their lives for me, son." Jason looked at me with eyes full of love and determination. "I didn't do it for you, Dad. I did it because of you. Everything I am, everything I've accomplished exists because you believed in me when the whole world said I wasn't worth the effort." 6 months later, the Carter Foundation held its first scholarship ceremony, providing full college funding for children from working-class families. When the mayor asked Jason what inspired the program, my son pointed to me in the front row. "That man taught me that real worth isn't measured in bank accounts or family names. It's measured in integrity, sacrifice, and love." The Westbourne family saw a plumber and decided he wasn't worthy of respect. I saw the man who built my character with his bare hands, and I knew they were the ones unworthy of his presence. As the applause thundered around us, I realized that the revenge wasn't in the business acquisition or the public humiliation. The real victory was in raising a son who understood that a man's value comes not from what he inherits, but from what he gives to those he loves. Some battles are won with fists or lawyers. Others are won by simply becoming the person your father always believed you could be.